I definitely do remember the first time we met.
We were just talking about it.
Yes, it was at the Fruit Shoot Summit, the global summit, the first one that I'd ever been invited to, which was a privilege from a procurement perspective, certainly. And I certainly remember you getting up on stage and doing your thing. What stood out was the passion that you had for Fruit Shoot as a brand. So yeah, I definitely do remember.
Yeah, I'm just thinking over the last couple of years, we've worked together a lot more than we probably would have done before. So that's partly because Fruit Shoot has grown globally. So we've now got Brazil. You know, we've got a really thriving business in the US and France as well. So actually, it's really important that we work closely together to keep track of the different agency relationships.
The advantage that you and I have is the proactiveness. So it's kind of like being aligned, understanding your objectives, my objectives, working together and getting the best out of our agencies and the creative that you guys deserve.
We've got a really good agency ecosystem. And the only way that works is by us kind of partnering and working together and collaborating on that, whether that's across geographies or in a particular market.
Some of the conversations we do have with our partners are not always easy, but I do find that I'm comfortable in sharing that challenge with you before making that decision or going ahead. And
there's one team and that makes all the difference.
What I admire about you is the holistic approach to things and, you know, trying to meet everybody's wants and desires from a different BU perspective. And I think by taking that mindset, I've been able to then adapt that to create the best commercial value for you guys when we're actually talking to agencies.
You bring a frame and a rigour to the conversations that we need to have, and that's hugely helpful because it puts a robustness into the conversations that maybe wouldn't have been there otherwise.
That I'm in a better place to negotiate or agree a better commercial deal if I exactly know your brief, your scope, you know, what your end deliverables are. There's nothing worse than me going into agency conversations not knowing actually what the end result looks like.
My observation over the last year or so has been we go into these conversations and we're getting the best out of our agencies because actually we're open and we're listening, and a lot of that is to do with how you set the tone.
What I look to you for is support, because not all conversations, as you know, are easy with our agencies, whether they're creative, whether they're design pack, whether they're media. You know, there's a whole host of agencies that we use, but it's actually managing them correctly together that I think that you've taken on board coming into the company, and I really admire that about you.
We are a global brand. You know, we've got growing businesses from GB through to Ireland, France, to the US, and most recently Brazil. And without that joined up partnership between the two functions, then we would duplicate work across different business units, and we'd miss out on those efficiencies. And I've really seen that in terms of how we're better partners from a global perspective to our local businesses. We get better work, relationships, results out of our agencies, and so much of that comes from the fact that we've got really clear frameworks and really honest conversations in place.
And it all comes down to, you know, the quality of output that you want with the level of commercial rigour that we can put into that process. And yeah, I think it's worked really well.